Hi everybody, we're moving on to more Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Psionics. So this would be the 1E rules, first edition. Alright, so psionic combat is the next thing after, it goes through all the magic-y powers. In the player's handbook. During psionic combat, the creatures involved can engage in no other activity. The procedure is as follows. Combatants select their defense modes, attack modes, and opponent if multiple creatures per side are involved. This information is recorded, and the defenses and attacks are matrixed to determine results. Expenditures for defense, attack, combat losses are noted and taken from the appropriate totals of involved creatures. Psionic combat takes place at a rate of 1 exchange per segment, 10 exchanges per melee round. If the attention of a creature is distracted by physical attack or spell damage or effect, such as charm, hold, etc., it cannot engage in an attack, although its defenses remain. Non-psionic creatures can be attacked psychically only by attack mode A, psionic blast. This attack mode cannot be used by distracted creatures as shown above. So I believe that was the same rule on the, if you don't have psionics, they can only be hit with this psionic blast. And there's a special matrix for them. There's still a special matrix for them, if you guys remember. But everything's changed on the matrices. They're the same, but different. Because, they got to be different. So that sounds pretty similar. But remember, they also changed the formula, which is probably why the matrix has changed a little bit. All right. So then we have multiple psionic operations. Psionic creatures can operate together to increase the range of psionic disciplines, where range is a factor, and such increase is otherwise possible. Where applicable, the multiple individuals link their minds, and this then adds cumulative 50% to the range of this discipline, so that two individuals operating together have 200% of the range normally possible. However, range base is always that of the weakest individual in the group. It is possible for 2 or more creatures to operate to increase psionic combat powers. Such operation must be in series, and the additional creatures add 20% to their total strength. All fractions rounded up. To the next individual in the chain. Example, creature A has 100 points of strength. So 20 points are transferred to creature B to bring its total to 140. And B then transfers 28 points to creature C, whose base strength is 130, but now has 158 points. And C passes 158 times 20%, so that's 0.20, or 32 points to creature D. All series should feed from the weakest to the strongest. Only the final link in the series can attack or be attacked. But all creatures in the series will be affected by whatever happens to the final link individual. The final creature attacks and defends for all in the series of the link. Series link. That's kind of cool. That is a change. I do not remember that being in Eldritch Wizardry. Like, you can do group psionic stuff now. So that's cool. Use of psionic powers. Use of psionic powers or related magic spells such as clairaudience, clairvoyance, ESP, detection, levitation, etc. does not attract the attention of creatures or monsters with psychic powers unless they are within range and attuned to such activity. A perusal of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Monster Manual will reveal which sorts of creatures are to be expected and guarded against if psionic powers are exercised. So that's a bit different as well from Eldritch Wizardry. Remember where they could there's nothing here about identifying the direction, or I remember there was like that whole section in Eldritch Wizardry, and this seems to be like a refinement of that. So that's good. Might help the players out a little bit. The multiple psionic operations, that I could see a group of players really using that. Oh, I could also see some baddies using that too. Remember, whatever the good guys can do, the bad guys, you should probably let them do too, if not more. Kind of how old D&D works. Well, original D&D, that's how it worked, Monsters can see in the dark. Nobody in the party can see in the dark. A monster that gets captured and joins the party can no longer see in the dark rule. Come on. Really heavily pro the monsters. The recovery of psionic strength points. Psionic strength points expended in any way can be restored by refraining from any psionic activity for varying periods. Of course, psionic disciplines which do not require continuing strength point outlay to maintain their effects can be in operation during the recovery periods. That's good to know. The rate of restoration of psionic strength points depends on the physical activity of the individual during the period. Note, attack and defense points are considered as 1/2 strength point, as it is quite possible to have desperate amounts of one or the other of these points after combat. So that's very similar to Eldritch Wizardry. There was the chart, and so we'll go over it here. Physical activity, hard exertion. Psionic strength recovered, none. Walking and like activity, 3 points per hour. Sitting and talking or reading, 6 points per hour. Resting and meditating, 12 points per hour. Sleeping, 24 points per hour. The least favorable class must always be used for each hour of time spent in restoration of psionic strength. Note that there are 6 turns to an hour, but no points can be recovered in less than 1 hour periods. So there you go. You gotta rest an hour. Go walk lightly. But you can't be like out there doing a whole bunch of physical activity. So that is the player's handbook and kind of what it has to say, minus all the psionic powers, because I didn't really go through that. It's got some cool stuff like body weaponry. This is cool. Come on. Body equilibrium, animal telepathy, cell adjustment, clairvoyance, clairaudience, detection of good or evil, detect magic, domination, empathy, ESP, expansion, hypnosis, invisibility, levitation, mind over body, molecular agitation, object reading, excludes thieves. There's a little note here. Expansion excludes clerics. Body weaponry excludes magic users. And domination excludes thieves. So again, some flavoring. Precognition, reduction excludes clerics. Sensitivity to psychic impressions. Suspend animation. Roll again or select one. Roll again or select one. Now that was your minor devotions. Your major, your sciences. Astral projection, aura alteration, body control, dimension door, dimension walk, energy control, etherealness. Mass domination excludes thieves. Mind bar, molecular manipulation, molecular rearrangement, probability travel, telekinesis, telepathic projection excludes fighters. Telepathy, telepathic projection, teleportation, shape alteration. Roll again, roll again. Consult your referee for his rulings on this. Select one or get 2 minor ones. So that kind of gives you an idea of the powers. That's the list of them. The level of mastery of any discipline equals the level of experience of the character who possesses it unless otherwise specified. So if you can see the book, it's gonna give range, duration, area effect, strength point cost, saving throw, explanations. So let me put the book up here. So hopefully you guys can see that. All right. So that's what the player handbook has to say, without getting into the weeds of each and every power. Hopefully this is making it less complicated or intimidating. I don't see how it's all that greatly different from combat matrices from advanced D&D for other forms of combat, or figuring out damage from magic or the effects of magic. You're just going about using your resources differently. You had the Vancian magic where you use spell slots, and you have other resources as a fighter, or anybody doing hand-to-hand combat or shooting missiles. But in the end, you're still looking at matrices a lot of times. You're like going down in armor class, and unless you have it memorized. There is a way to memorize that stuff. You're awesome. I believe anybody can master any of the editions of Dungeons and Dragons, period. That includes 4E, 3, 3.5, 2E, 1E, original, basic, 5E. I believe you can do it, because I come from a generation where we didn't have PDFs of everything. We didn't always have all the same editions of yet we managed to sit down and play games together. So I just want to put that out there. You can do it. It's your table. It's your world. Just have fun with it. Keep on rolling. Keep on rocking the roll. And like, subscribe, comment. This is a long one, I know. Bye.